Hello and welcome to another video tutorial. In this video, I'll be showing you a really short example project of a linear story. And in the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you some various project types you can create using the Storyteller. Alright, now, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open up this project here called The Stone. It's a short story with 3 characters. Now I'm going to open it up and then I'm going to recreate the story for you. Alright, you can follow along with it. Alright, and you can see that we're still moving a bit slow because of the screen recorder, but it's fine. I'll just work with it. So you can see here that if we just ignore the timeline, we just have a bunch of statements and actions, and they don't actually flow together. But in the timeline here, we've organized all the statements, all the dialogue, and all the actions, so everything flows. Now we have a complete linear story, which we can then export. If we just right click, go to Story Info and Settings, go to Share, we select what we want to export the timing for the project, the types of, these are really nodes, the types of nodes here. And if you have sound effects or voiceovers or character images, you can export those alongside it. Well, the output for the export still needs to be fixed up, but you do get some of the images, but that still needs to be fixed, no big problem. And you can also select the characters you want to export. Just select all for all, and the scene. So we're just going to select this no name scene, and if we hit the export here, it's going to export our story. We can then open that up on the web. And then, but as you can tell, that one's pretty basic. So let's jump right back to the Storyteller here, and I'm quickly just going to recreate this short story for you. Now, if I remember correctly, it's a story about 3 characters, Jane, Bill, and Tim. And Jane here is going to be the victim, Bill is going to be the antagonist, and Tim is going to be the protagonist. So alright, I'm just going to recreate this now. So the story goes like this. Bill throws a stone, Jane gets hit, she grabs her head and she rolls. And then Bill runs and hides behind a fence. And then Jane asks, who did that? And then Tim says, Bill says Tim did it. Then she asks, where is he? And then I should really give the chaining color so I know who is who. Oh, Tim's white. Okay, and then Tim says he's over there by the fence. Instead of doing this, instead of going back and forth like that, then we just look right into the timeline here and we can see all the information. So the first action should be by Bill, so let's put him further down. So it's Bill throws a stone, blah, 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 blah. Same as I just explained it a while ago. And we're just going to recreate all of this here. And if I remember correctly, I can just select my nodes here and I should be able to delete them from, I delete and I'll remove that function. So I'm gonna go with the group select. Actually, I'm not gonna use group select. I'm just gonna hit Control Delete. And that's just gonna remove all the nodes from the project. Alright, and I'm gonna create a new character. I'm gonna move the character here. I'm going to select it and hit Control Shift D, Control Shift D, and then we already know what they're going to be called. This one's going to be Jane. We'll try to keep this video as short as possible. Bill, Tim. The screen recorder is causing it to move really slow, so yeah. And then I'm going to hit Control and the forward arrow key to automatically generate a new node. Now each action node has all nodes, dialogue and action, have a default timing of 1 second. However, in this particular project, we're using a different setting for our dialogue nodes. So if you go over to settings here, we see that we have text mode turned on. And we're also going to turn on auto time text dialog. and we're going to right click and save those settings. All right, so what we're going to do for Jane here is that we're going to give her one dialogue node and then one action node, because first she's going to say ow, then she's going to grab her head, which is an action. So we're going to grab this here, we're going to put that right there, we're going to hook this up to this, and then we're going to do something that wasn't shown in the previous example. We're going to create a media node, hook up the media node to this. Let's get to our project window, properties window. So in the properties window, it shows you all the information related to every node that you've selected. So if we selected the character node, it shows us what we've connected to and what's connected to us. So we selected this dialog node and we can see what's connected to it, and we can break the connection just by clicking these links here. And we can reconnect it. When we reconnect, we may have to just click this refresh here. All right, now you can see that we only have one node here representing an action node, and that's because we've turned on auto time text dialog, which means that dialog is timed. Timing for dialogues is generated based on the text that you've entered. It's not 100% accurate, but it gives you a good starting point. So here we're going to say, and then you can see that the timing is automatically generated based on the length of the dialogue. And then here we're going to say G. Now, if you're incorporating this into a game, what you're going to need to have first is you're going to need to have your animation first, or you can then write your story and then do animations based on your story. If you're pleased with the story, you can go ahead and do the animations for it. But if you already have your animations, then it would be really cool because you can take the timing from the animations and then set the timing here to be the same timing for the animation clip. And then you could use voiceovers to get a 100% accurate story flow. So the voiceover is going to be the same one in the game, and the length of the animation is going to be the same as the one in the game, so it'd be 100% accurate. If you want to be that thorough with it, then you could. But we're just using loose text here, just for a really basic example. So she grabs her head and rolls, and then there's going to be another dialogue here, which is going to ask who did that. And then let's pan over. Let's hit Control forward arrow. And let's say I'm going to tell your mom. Right, really fighting with the screen recorder at the moment. It's making everything move really slowly. I'm actually running on a laptop and I have 3 screens attached, which is ridiculous. So here we have Bill, who throws a stone, if I can spell right. And runs and hides behind the fence. And then we're going to have Tim. We're going to select this, Ctrl-Shift-D, attach it, and forward arrow, think twice. He's going to say, Tim did it. He is over there by the fence. I'm just going to keep it really short. I'm just going to delete this one. All right, and then we're going to structure this really quickly. So we know the antagonist here. It's Bill, so his actions first, and then Tim's action is last. Well, his actions and his dialogues are last. So he throws a stone. We're going to make that 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds actually. So we're going to go 1.5 here. doesn't matter. I'm going to get that detailed right now. And then she says, ow, that hurts. Yeah, that's the correct timing for it. So from there to here, and then she quickly grabs her head. That doesn't even take a second, more like 0.3 seconds. And then we're gonna make this action much longer. Have her roll for about 2.5 seconds. No, it must be about 3 seconds or so. I'm gonna have to put timings on the scale, or you can just look up here, you get your 3 seconds. I'm gonna change this so that you can double click here and then set the timing from here instead, which would be much better than having to like slide and guess. So we'll just double click here and then change the timing, which would be perfect. All right, then he runs here, and then she says, who did that? So she's recovered about a second after. Delay, 1 second delay, so it's about 1 second after. She's recovered enough to ask a question, to which Tim gives a response about a second, half a second after. No, that's too quick. No, he seems too desperate. No. All right, so you just set that to about 1 second after, and then pull this all the way out here. Oh, and look, we forgot that there's a piece of dialogue missing. So Jane says, who did that? And Tim answers that it was Bill. But then she says, I'm gonna tell your mom, but there's another piece of dialogue that should be here for Jane. That says, where is he? And to which Tim will respond, he's over there by the fence. So you can go ahead and add that. I'm just gonna select this. Actually, I'm gonna grab this one, break what I'm connected to. I'm gonna, that was incorrect. Undo. Let's just grab this, break that. Reconnect it. Where is he? And then we're gonna refresh. All right, there we go, it's finished. So again, what I could do is then go over into my project. Actually, before that, I could sample the scene. If I hit the play button here, you can begin running through the scene, but we're only sampling one character. I can see that it's moving really slow now because of the screen recorder. Once I turn it off, it flows really quickly. And that's 17 seconds of story, but that's just for sampling only one character, which in this case had the longest time. So that's 17 seconds of story. And then again, we can export this and then check the flow of the dialogue online. So let's do that. Let's go to story info and settings. Let's go to share, and let's hit let's select overview. No, actually we don't have any overview for this project. It's just simple. So exporting the timing and the type. All right, and then I'm just gonna go to the project window here. And remember, we're working in a project called The Stone. So we go to the Stone folder, and then here we go. So I'm just gonna show this in the Explorer. I'm going to double click, open it up on the web, and then we can just check the flow of the story right there. So you can see here, we're going to open that up and then check the story flow. All right, it's loading from a local file path here. So here we got this flow of the story here, so it's quite slow, quite short. So Bill through stone, it says Bill, Jane, Bill, Jane, Bill, Jane, and then of course Tim is the last character to actually get involved in the dialogue. And then we have all the duration of the dialogue, and then we have the delay from here, this dialogue to this dialogue, and then we have the total timing of from where this dialogue begins to where this one starts, not ends. For the ending time, it's just right here, 17 seconds. So that's the very basic overview of creating a fully timed story using the Storyteller, fully timed linear story using the Storyteller. And then what's really cool about this is that we can actually just go back into the Storyteller, or without even going back there, we can just work in our timeline. And if we want to change our entire story, all we need to do is just grab some pieces and slide them around, and just like that, hit this button here, check it again, and we've changed the entire story. So working with the story as a storyteller as opposed to working with a static text document does not allow you to actually get into your story and change complete parts of the story around and sample them as easily as you can with the Storyteller, and actually get full timed dialogue and actions with it. If we're using voiceover, and it'll be even more accurate, because of course it'll be the voice that we'll be using, the voice clip that we'll be using inside the game. Or it could be just a rough draft voiceover that you're using. You can do whatever you want. All right, let me just undo that. All right, so that covers this video. It's a little bit longer than it should have been, but it covered the points. In the next video, as I mentioned, I'll be showing you some of the project types that you can work with inside of the Storyteller, and a little bit about templates that will be added in the next release of the Storyteller. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.